There's a kind of grief that doesn't come with a funeral. No casket, no eulogy. No one standing at the pulpit to name what was lost. It lives in the quiet spaces, the moments when you realize no one is coming back for you. The grief for parents who were never there isn't loud or dramatic. It's the ache that settles behind your ribs like an old bruise, always tender, always present. I've carried mine since I was 7, when my mother handed me over to strangers and walked away without looking back. I remember her eyes empty, distant, like she was already gone long before her body disappeared. That moment carved something out of me, left a hollow space where love should have been. And now, years later, I still find myself reaching into that emptiness, hoping for warmth, for reassurance, for something real. But there's only silence. It wasn't just my mother who abandoned me. My father had already vanished by then, swallowed up by addiction, his presence reduced to a name on a birth certificate I barely ever saw. He would show up sometimes, unannounced, reeking of alcohol, and regret, promising to be different this time. I believed him once, twice, maybe even 3 times. But promises from ghosts don't last long. They fade like breath on glass, leaving nothing but cold air behind. I used to dream about him taking me somewhere far away, somewhere safe. In those dreams, he was strong and steady, the kind of man who could hold the world together. But when I woke up, reality came crashing down like a wave, reminding me that the only arms waiting for me were the ones I wrapped around myself. Grief like this isn't just about loss, it's about longing. It's wanting someone to call in the middle of the night when everything feels too heavy, knowing they'd answer without hesitation. It's craving the simple comfort of hearing your name spoken with love, of feeling seen, understood, protected. But when your parents are absent, whether by choice or circumstance, you learn to bury those desires deep inside. You tell yourself you don't need anyone, that you're strong or alone. And maybe you are. Maybe you become fiercely independent, capable beyond your years. But beneath the surface, there's a part of you that never stops asking, why didn't they want me? The worst part is how invisible it all feels. People talk about parental love like it's a given, like every child is someone rooting for them, holding their hand through life's hardest moments. But what do you do when you're the exception? When you grow up watching other kids run into open arms while you stand on the sidelines, wondering what it would feel like to belong. You try not to let it show. You smile when people ask about your family. You make up stories to fill in the blanks, but inside, you're breaking apart piece by piece, trying to convince yourself that being alone doesn't hurt as much as it does. And yet, despite everything, there's a strange kind of resilience that comes from growing up without parents. You learn how to survive early, how to navigate a world that often forgets you exist. You figure out how to soothe yourself when no one else will, how to fight for the things you deserve when no one is fighting for you. It's not easy. Nothing about this life is, but there's a quiet strength that builds in the absence of love, a strength that whispers, you are enough. Still, there are days when the loneliness cuts deeper than usual, days when you see a parent drop their child off at school with a kiss on the forehead, or hear someone say, I'll always be here for you. And your chest tightens with something that feels dangerously close to envy. You want to scream, don't take it for granted. Don't you know how lucky you are? But you don't. You swallow the words, push the feelings down, and keep moving forward because that's what you've always done. Sometimes, I wonder if my parents ever think about me. If in some quiet moment, they remember the child they left behind and feel even a fraction of the pain I carry every day. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they care. And maybe I never will. But I do know that I am more than the sum of their failures. I am more than the grief that lingers in the spaces they left empty. I am proof that survival is possible, that healing is possible, that love can still find its way into the cracks, even when it starts in the wrong place. This grief, it changes you. It carves lines into your soul, reshapes the way you see the world. You become hyper-aware of every goodbye, every promise, every fleeting connection, because you know how easily people can disappear. You know how fragile trust can be, but you also learn to cherish the love that stays, the friends who refuse to leave, the mentors who step in when no one else will, the strangers who offer kindness when you least expect it. Those moments remind you that you're not truly alone, that there are people who choose to love you even when blood couldn't. And maybe that's the most powerful thing of all. Not the absence, but the presence of those who stay. The people who look at you and see more than your past, who recognize the strength it takes to keep going when everything in your life tells you to stop. They remind you that you are worthy of love, even if the first people who were supposed to give it failed you. They remind you that you are not defined by the parents who weren't there, that you get to define yourself. But healing isn't linear. There are still nights when the grief sneaks up on you, when the weight of everything feels unbearable. You lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying memories you wish you could forget, wondering if things would have been different if your parents had stayed. You wonder if you could have been someone else, if you could have been loved the way every child deserves to be loved. And in those moments, it's hard not to feel like a failure. Like maybe there was something wrong with you that made them walk away. But then dawn breaks, and the light finds its way through the window. And you remember that you survived another night. You remember that you are still here, still breathing, still fighting. And maybe that's enough for today. Maybe it's enough to keep going, one step at a time, until the pain starts to soften. Until the grief becomes something you carry instead of something that carries you. Because here's the truth. The absence of your parents doesn't erase your worth. It doesn't mean you were unlovable or unwanted. It means they were broken in ways you may never understand. Broken in ways that had nothing to do with you. And no matter how much it hurts, no matter how many times you wish things had been different, you are still here. Still whole, still capable of love, of joy, of building a life that matters. So yes, there is grief. There will always be grief. But there is also hope. There is also healing. There is also the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you made it through the darkest parts of your story, and you are still writing the rest. And that, in itself, is a kind of victory. I don't know if I'll ever fully stop missing the parents I never had. Maybe I'll always wonder what it would have felt like to have someone believe in me unconditionally, to have someone stand by me no matter what. But I do know this. I am not defined by their absence. I am not limited by their choices. I am not bound by the grief that once threatened to consume me. Instead, I choose to honor the pain by turning it into something beautiful. I choose to speak for the children who still feel unseen, who still believe they are unworthy of love, simply because they were left behind. I choose to remind them and myself that we are more than our losses. We are survivors. We are fighters. We are proof that even in the deepest darkness, light can still find its way. And so, to anyone who has ever felt the sting of parental absence, to anyone who has ever wondered if they mattered, I see you. I hear you. I know how hard it is to carry this grief, how easy it is to feel like you're drowning in it. But I also know that you are stronger than you think. I know that you are capable of love, of resilience, of creating a future that is entirely your own. Because even if your parents weren't there, even if they never showed up the way you needed them to, your story is still yours to write. And no one, not your past, not your pain, not even the ghost of the people who were supposed to love, you can take that away from you. So take a breath. Let the grief settle, let it soften. Let it become a part of you without consuming you. And then, when you're ready, keep going, keep living, keep believing that you are worthy of love, of happiness, of a life that is full and rich and beautiful. Because you are. You always have been. And no amount of absence can change that.